to another tutorial from Listiana Fashions. Okay, today's tutorial is going to be on how to make a Victorian corset. Okay, we'll be drafting all the pattern today, and then by our next tutorial I'll be showing you step by step on how to sew your Victorian corset. But today we are going to be cutting it, we'll be drafting it, and I want you to sit back and please don't touch that dial. Okay, if today is your first time of coming to our channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you get notified whenever we upload our video. Alright, let's dive into the class. I have my armhole line, and then the next is my bust points, which is at 10 inches. That's the bust point. And then we have the under bust. Here we have the waists. I have the hip, which is also my top length. And then we have what? Allowance. So you can see it's alright. Of 17. So it's straight of 16. 16 divided by 2, we have 8 inches. And then I'll be adding half inch for my allowance. Okay, so we have total of 8.5. So I'll just connect, and then I'll put my hand hook off. As soon as I'm going to get my upper chest measurements, okay? And since it's a Victorian corset, I'll be making a cup out of it. Alright, I'll be making a cup out of it. This is a picture of what I'm making, alright? That picture you're seeing there right now is a picture of what I'm making. So I'll first of all get my chest measurements. The chest line I'll be making use is 7 inches, alright? We call it upper chest measurements. So we'll draw a line. Now for bust of 38, the nipple to nipple I'll be using is 4 inches. So we get our 4 inches for bust of 38. Alright, so I'll come to the on the bust line. I'll take 1 inch here and then 1 inch here. So I'll take 1 inch on this part, 1 inch, then take the 1 inch down, and then we'll take 1 inch here also, 1 inch, and then I'll take it down. But because we are making a Victorian corset, alright, this is how it's going to be here. So right on top of this place, and this is beginners friendly, on top of this place I'll be taking 0.75, and then I'm going to connect this way, and then also connect this one this way. Okay, and then I'll come on top of this place. I'll be using 1.5, and then here I'll use 1 inch. And then I'll connect it right on the bust points. And then I'll also connect this one. So I'm going to smoothen this place so that it doesn't look sharp. Alright, so this is it. So now I'm going to come to this part. I'll take half inch here and then half inch on this part. I'll mark this way. Remember, this is my new bust point here and somewhere around here, this place. So what I'm going to do is this: I'll connect the cup and this place, you measure it, you're going to have 3.5 from this half inch line, and this part I'm going to use 4 inches, okay, because the bust is usually fuller on this part. So we're using 4 inches on that part. So we'll connect this way. And then I'll also take 4 inches on this part also, which is somewhere around here. So I'll connect everything. So I've connected it. Now for the upper side, I'm going to come down by 1 inch or whatever I want. I'll use 1, and then we go straight this way, and then I'll connect it slantedly. Okay, so for this part I'll come up a little, and then we'll go in. All right, so take this one up. So this is our corset. Okay, now because we said we are making it Victorian corset, we're going to take a measurement. The bust I'm working with is 39. 38 divided by 4, we have 9.5, which is here. And then I'll just add 2 inches for my allowance. Then the under bust I'm working with is 30. 30 divided by 4, we have 3.5 here. Then we add back our allowance, and then extra 2 inches. Okay, whatever I have on the under bust is what I'm going to use for the waist, so that I can be able to snatch. I'm going to snatch the waist very well. So I have 7.5 on the under bust, so I will be using the same thing. All right, but the same thing I have for the under bust is exactly what I'm using for the waist. Then we'll go to the hip. The hip we're working with is 40 divided by 4. Divided by 4 is 10. So use 10 inches, and then 2 inches, and then we have extra 2. Remember, this 2 is for this allowance, then extra 2. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these lines. I'll start from connecting this one, and then I'll use this to connect this one, the highest measurement. Okay, so this is it here. Now remember, we said we are making a Victorian corset, so I'm going to remove the 2 inches we have for our the 2 inches we have for our allowances. I'm going to remove all of them, the 2 inches. So let's remove it, set them aside. Now this is for the allowance. Okay, since this is for the allowance, I'm going to come to the waist part, because it's the waist we are trying to snatch. So around here I have let's say I have 5 inches here. I'll be dividing it into 2. We have 2.5. So with this 2.5, I'll just take my tape, my ruler, and mark it this way. Mark it this way. You can see. Okay. So once I mark it, I'm going to take half inch on both sides. Half inch here, half inch here, and then I'll take the darts. Okay, all right, so this is the darts. Okay, and then we have 1 dart here and 1 and 2 here. So the next time I want to come to this part, I'll take also half inch here, half inch here, and I'll connect here, and then I'll also connect here. All right, so this is it. So here now, we took in half here and took in 1 here. Assume you want yoke. You would want to put it yoke. All you need to do is to get your neckline. I'll be using 4 inches as the deep, and then 3 inches for my what? For the width. So I'll connect it. So I'll use 1 inch as my shoulder slope, and then I'll use our corsets, our Victorian corsets. So on this down part, in order not to make it look sharp, I'll come up here with 2 inches. You could use 1.5, and then I'll connect it this way. So I'll connect this way. So I'll go ahead now and cut. The waistline, here is the top length, and here is the allowance. Okay, so now let's measure together. Here I have 22 and 1 inch for allowance. If you recall, the front side I used 24 plus 1 inch for my allowance. Now when I was minusing these parts, if you remember this part, I minused 2 inches. If you remember this part, when I was minusing here, I removed 2 inches. So I'm not going to be adding the 2 inches. So what I did was just, instead of using 24, I came up with 1 inch, giving us 122. So the back is going to be 122. The back is going to be shorter. Alright, so let's go there. Now the next is going to we get our nipple to nipple for 4 inches. The bust, I'm using the bust of 38, so we have 4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to connect. So now I'll come to the waist, which is here. I'll take 1 inch on both sides, and then I'll connect. Alright, so I'll just take my measurement. The bust I'm working with is 8 divided by 4, we have 9.5. I'll put my 2 inch for allowance. Then I'll come to the waist. Remember I said whatever I have for the underboard, I'll use the same for the waist. Plus we had 7.5 plus 2 inches for allowance, and then little allowance here of ½ inch. So the same thing I have for the underboard, I'll just put the same here on the waist part. So the hip we are working with is 40 inches is the hip. So I'll put my 10 divided by 4 is 10, and then I add extra 2 inches. So I will connect these lines. And then I also connect this one. Okay, so we'll do the same thing we did for the front. I'll bring out the 2 inches allowance I added here. I'll bring the 2 inches allowance, and then we'll set it aside while we continue with the Victorian corset, if you remember. So this is our allowance. So now, because we want to snatch the waist very well, I'm going to come to the waist part. Here I have 3.5 divided by 2 is going to be 1.7, which is somewhere around here. So whatever you have, just take it up and down. So I'll just come to the waist part. I'll take half inch on both sides. Now you can leave it straight if you want to just make it that way, but if you want your waist to snatch very well, then you have to do this. So I'll connect. Okay, so I'm going to come to those parts again. Alright, so take ½ inch here. You can use a ¼ inch if you want, or we're taking half. I'll connect it this way and this way. Okay, now we're not ending it here. Okay, sometimes when you finish making clothes for your client, you discover that on this part there's usually what fold. So we want to remove that fold, especially if you are using a zipper for your work. All right, whether zipper or not, you should do this if you're making a Victorian corset so that everything will lap very well. So now I'm going to come in between this line, this black line. I'll take half inch on both sides of the line, and then I'm going to connect. Let's connect it from this place. You see that way? So we'll connect and connect. So with this now, we're able to remove like 1 inch on this part so that it's going to give us a very nice fitting. Remember, your back is somehow deep, so that deepness we want to see it. Okay, now since we don't want to put zipper on this, I'm going to minus just 1 inch from the back side. Okay, I'll be using I'll be putting my lacing on it, so I'll minus 1 inch from it. 1 inch. Now let's assuming you are using a zipper. All you need to do is to add 2 inches, okay, on this side. You add 2 inches, but since there's no zipper, so I'll be minusing 1 inch, and then this is where I'll be putting my eyelets. So my eyelet is now going to sit on this part. So I'll show you how to cut all this so that to avoid confusion. Now let's go to the upper side of this part. Now with taking my shoulder slope of 1 inch, and then remember the neck we took. We said the width was 3 inches. Now the dip, I'll be using just 3 inches for my dip. All right, just 3 inches for the dip. So we connect it. And then I'll slope with 1 inch. Okay, I've just sloped with 1 inch. Now you connect your armhole. So once I connect my armhole, here I'll just come down or come in with 6 inches, which is somewhere around here. You can use 5, and then here I come in with 10 inches, and then now here you can decide to make it straight or you make it a curve, depending on what you want. Now this is for the straight. Now let's assume you are making it a curve. The curve should look something like this. Okay, let's make it look curved. All right, so this is a curve, and then this is a straight. So it all depends on what you want. So now I will taking this place off. Okay, now if you want to have a little opening on your yoke, you can add ½ inch here, and then ½ inch, and then here, because you're putting it a tiny loop for a button or whatever you want. Okay, I'll be putting 1 inch, so I'll connect it this way. Okay, so this is it. Now I'm going to cut this off for clarity. So let's first of all take out what? The yoke, so that it will be very clear. So this is out of the way. So now let's go. First of all, what you need to do is to you cut out this. Okay, you're cutting it out. All right, but before then, these darts we took out. By the time you are cutting your pattern on your dress, I'll show you how to cut it. Remember, after this we'll do we'll be sewing it, so I'll show you how to cut out the pattern. You won't just sew it this way. We'll have to add ½ inch on all the area for sewing. So we'll do it on the fabric. But for now, I won't add any allowance on this part. Okay, so don't get confused. We'll be using it that way. I'm not adding any allowance on this. To do is to this dart that is here. all you need to do is to carry it up like this and place it. You see, it's covered. Okay, so you get your masking tape. Now you'll be needing a lot of masking tape. So if you don't have a masking tape, go and buy your masking tape. You'll be needing it. So I'll put my masking tape. Okay. So now I have added my masking tape. So we've covered this. Now it's time to cut out what? All the darts. So you see, we've been able to short out this place. Okay, we've shortened it. All right. Now let's cut. So this is going to be on top of here. Allowances, we're going to add allowance on all those parts too, on all this part. So this is a cup to do this. But let's say, for example, you want to use this particular one to make the three-way corset. It is very, very easy. Maybe I will be uploading that class next time we'll meet again. How to use this to make your three-way corset. Alright, until I meet you again next week, my name is Christiana Fashions. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you find this tutorial very, very helpful. Alright, again, I'll see you in my next class.